Hey up, it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek, and I'm here with just one story today, and it's a spooky one, as you can see. It's Halloween. Well, it will be tomorrow, if you're watching this today. It's the 30th today, whatever. So let's just hit the intro, and then we'll have a look. Right, I'm back. Right. So I've just got this a quick web page called 15 horror movies so disturbing they were actually banned, and I thought that were appropriate for Halloween. So there we go. So let's have a read. I think that's the Slender Man, isn't it? But we'll get to that. There are many reasons a movie might get banned. A country might ban movies with messages it deems harmful. Even the United States, with its right to free speech, has banned films. This was especially true during the early to mid 20th century, whether real or imagined, any movie that appeared more political propaganda than entertainment was banned. Another perceived threat was moviegoers becoming desensitized by exposure to gratuitous violence. Movies from any genre can be banned, but it goes without saying horror movies are often public enemy number one. Here we've curated a list of 15 horror movies thought to be too disturbing for movie audiences. By the way, this is from Start Facts or Starty Facts. I've never heard of them. I think it's Starty Facts, isn't it? The link will be in the description. And also, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, join me on my social medias and all that stuff. Although a movie might be offensive, sometimes the backstories and action behind the scenes prove truly shocking. So grab yourself some popcorn and let's dive into this celluloid cesspool. By the way, they don't mention the video nasty, the kind of skirt, the video nasty thing that we had in the UK in the 80s. A lot of films were banned. Some films that you thought were banned actually weren't banned. But like The Evil Dead, the original Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, that was never banned in the video nasty, clampdown. But a lot of people think it was, but it never was. Anyway, let's have a look. Straight up, for number one, The Exorcist, 1973. Brilliant film. Banned for a decade by the UK. I didn't actually know this. This might have been one of the video nasty ones, maybe, I don't know. While demonically possessed, a young girl spews green goop and casually mentions that the mother of the Catholic priest performing the exorcism is busy doing things in hell. Your mother knits socks in hell. The UK ban was to protect impressionable children. This will have been during the video nasty craze when you could just go to a video store, a rental store, and just kids would just. I was one of them. I mean, I wasn't a kid. I was like 16, but I could go and rent like an X certificate film or an 18 certificate film. I can't remember when that changed over. We used to have X certificates, and then it changed over to 18. I can't remember when that was. I think that was the early 80s, though, so I think by that time there were 18 certificates. And more often than not, whoever was running the shop turned a blind eye. Some of them didn't. So there were some good proprietors out there, but more often than not, they didn't give a monkeys. But yeah, I can see why The Exorcist maybe was banned, but it is still a brilliant film. It's probably, the best horror film ever made, in my opinion. The Possession, 1981. By the way, a lot of these films I've not seen. I'll tell you which ones I have seen. I've seen this one. Banned by the UK. I don't know exactly how long it was banned for. I didn't even know it was banned. This might have been another one in the video nasties era. But it's from 1981. This film made an impact on nearly everyone involved. The lead actress said it took years to recover from the role mentally and emotionally, describing one scene as emotional porn. This is the film that's got Sam Neill. I can't remember the name of the actress. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to look it up. I can't remember the name of the actress. I've seen it though. Sam Neill is the main actor in it. Excuse me while I do this. Right, let's have a look. Isabella Gianni, that's it. Cast. Yeah, Isabella Gianni. And Sam Neill, and loads of other people you've never heard of. And it was directed by Andrei Zulowski. I've never heard of him. Obviously, I've seen the film, but I've never heard of anything else he's done. But it's a good film, and it is very disturbing. I don't think it deserves banning, because, there's a scene where she gives birth in the subway to some like tentacle type creature. And it is, it is quite gruesome in places, but it's not particularly gory, but it is weird, and it is disturbing, and it messes with your head. But it didn't deserve banning. Right, Human Centipede 2, 2011, banned in the UK. I didn't know this one was banned either. This is after the Video Nasties thing, but I didn't know this one was banned. I've seen this one. I've seen the first one, which is a decent, horror thriller. It's not as bad as everybody, makes it out to be. This one is a bit more, how would you put it? A bit more disturbing. It's in black and white, as you can see from the picture there. I'll have to look this one up, the name of the actors, because I can't remember them. I've actually seen him on the convention circuit, but I can't remember his name. Full sequence. Human Centipede 2, full sequence, and it stars this chap. Lawrence R. Harvey plays Martin Lomax. Where are we? There we go. There he is. And what he does is a fan of the original film. In the film, it's like a bit meta. All the Human Centipede films are a little bit meta. He's a fan of the original film, and he wants to recreate his own Human Centipede. By the way, he's a security guard in a multi-story car park. So he kidnaps people and then sews them together. We don't really sew them very well. I think he uses a lot of duct tape and staple guns and stuff like that, and it doesn't go well. Spoilers, in the end, I don't know if to say, I don't know, but in my opinion, I don't think what you're seeing on screen, I think one of the reasons why it's in black and white is I think it's all in this security guard's imagination. I don't think it's really happening. I think he's having daydreams while he's in his boring job, sat behind, sat in a security box. But anyway, so let's have a read. Even if viewers are okay with the movie's ick factor, and it is quite, icky, watching a mentally challenged person become completely deranged and unhinged is difficult to watch. If you know what a human centipede is, you'll get why seeing the main character obsess over creating one himself is disturbing AF. You know what AF means. So yeah, it is very disturbing. But in a it is kind of in a cartoony way. And with it being in black and white, that takes away some of the shock value. Some people think black and white adds atmosphere. I'm not one of those people. But it's a film I've seen once, and I don't want to watch it again. But I'm kind of glad I can say I've seen it, but I won't want to watch it again. I've not seen the third one. Was it Final Sequence or whatever they call it? The one in the prison. I've not seen that one. Right, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, banned by some US theatres and several countries around the world. I think this might have been in the Video Nasties list, I'm not sure. This film almost never made it to theatres. Of the US theatres willing to screen it, many showed it only briefly due to viewer complaints. 20 years after the film debuted, it was still on the UK banned movies list. It's a great film. And it obviously had a troubled production, because it's very low budget. And I think there was something to do with like the mob, financing it, or some sort of unscrupulous character doing the financing. But anyway, it came out, became a classic, and then got banned by a lot of people. And it's not actually as bad as you think it is. There's not as much blood as you think there is. There's a lot of disturbing imagery, especially when Leatherface hits the fella with the hammer and then hits him again, and puts the woman on the hook. Spoilers, by the way. But it's not gory. There's blood spraying about all over the place. It's just done kind of matter-of-factly. Right, The Bunny Game, 2011. Never heard of this one. Banned in the UK. A prostitute is abducted and forced to wear a bunny mask, hence the title, raped and tortured by a truck driver. Had it been presented as a statement on society's disregard for the safety of sex workers and other marginalised populations, this might have been acceptable. That's not what this movie is about, though. One of the most difficult things to digest is the actress being abused in the film actually went through the physical torture, including being branded by her captor being filmed. The source she drew from this, her own experience with physical and sexual abuse. Okay, I don't think I want to watch that one. Doesn't sound very nice, that one, does it? It sounds, what's the phrase I've heard recently? It's mean. Sounds mean spirited, doesn't it, to me? Anyway. Right, Hostel 2. Obviously, I've seen this one, and I've seen all the Hostel films, and they're all right for what they are. Banned in Germany and New Zealand, Eli Roth is known for his unapologetic, unflinching horror movies. Hostel 2, categorised by some as torture porn, has been criticised for its abundant and realistic acts of violence. Well, the first film was the same, wasn't it? The first film was men, young men that were captured and tortured and killed by paying customers, in Eastern Europe somewhere. And the second film, it's like follows on, but it's young women doing it this time. When one of the film's distributors refused to cut scenes to get a more acceptable film rating, it was banned. But like I say, it's one of them films that I think they're not as bad. A lot of these films are not as bad and they're not as gruesome and stuff like that as you think they are. And there are some films out there that are really gory and proper gruesome that didn't get banned. So, anyway. Faces of Death, 1978, boasted it was banned in 46 countries. Now, I've not seen this one. Obviously, I've heard of it. In the UK, New Zealand and Germany, all banned this movie. How many others did remains a mystery. Hollywood has produced a lot of found/fake footage movies. The Faces of Death series was one of the progenitors of the genre, purported to be footage of violent deaths. The movie is still banned in many places, despite being proven fake. Oh, see, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. But I think a film that's not in this list is Cannibal Holocaust, which were another kind of a found footage film, semi-found footage. That were another one that I'm not sure if it were banned, but I think it should have been because it's one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen, and it's very difficult to watch, and there's real life animal killing in it, and that's more disturbing than anything else. But the producers of that had to prove that they didn't actually kill the actors. They had to produce the actors in court to say, look, they're here, they're alive. Anyway, Traces of Death, 1993, another one I've not seen, banned in the UK. While Faces of Death presented itself as real, Traces of Death was real. The movie is strung together from coroner images and incidents that took place in public view. Not sure if that makes it better or worse, but the BBFC, the British Board of Film Classification, is having none of it. So I've not seen that one. Mikey, 1992, banned in the UK. I've not heard this one. If post-Pet Sematary Burial Gage and Macaulay Culkin's character from The Good Son, also banned in the UK for a while, merged, the result would probably be Mikey. 9-year-old Mikey begins his murder-thon by killing his adopted family. Besides the movie's content, another reason for the ban was the murder of little Jamie Bulger by two schoolboys. Was and still is one of the most tragic murders in UK history. Yes, it was. While the UK ban was lifted from The Good Son, it's likely Mikey will never be shown there or here. But the film that was most linked with the Jamie Bulger murder was, I think, Child's Play 3, because I think the young lads that murdered Jamie Bulger had watched Child's Play 3. I'm saying it's a tragic part of British history. Evil Dead, 1981, banned in several European countries, and it never got banned in Britain. Although a lot of people think it was. This movie serves up grisly and grotesque with a side of gallows humour par non, splatter gore, before the term even existed. There's no way of knowing how many gallons of fake blood were used, enough to get it banned anyways. But a lot of the blood that you see is actually green in the film, or black, but it is a great film. But you can see It's low budgetness, but it was never banned in Britain. Land of the Dead, 2005, banned in Ukraine. This is George Romero's, his big budget of the Dead film, wasn't it? Ukraine's ban was due to cultural sensitivities. The problem wasn't zombies, it was the depiction of cannibalism. Ministry of Culture representative Maxim Rostotsky, explained the memory of the Holodomor, the famine that killed millions in the country and sparked episodes of cannibalism of 1933, is still fresh in our society. Well, so did they ban all the other zombie films, not just that one? Pardon me. Sounds like they're just singling that one out. And of course I've seen it. I Spit on Your Grave, 1978. Now I can't remember if I've seen this one. I suspect I might have when I was young and don't remember much about it. I probably wasn't very impressed at the time. I've seen the remake, which I thought were quite good. I thought the remake were quite good. And the sequels of the remake are not too bad either. But anyway, this film depicts extremely graphic and realistic scenes of gang, that word that YouTube don't like to say, grape. There's also an incredible amount of violence, but the sexual assault alone is enough to get the movie banned. The title itself is a hint of the offensive material to follow, but it's a revenge film, isn't it? She gets a revenge on the men that assaulted her. Slenderman 2018, Milwaukee and surrounding areas. Milwaukee, I think I've seen this, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I have, and I don't think I was very impressed with it. I don't think it's a very good film. Milwaukee and the US as a whole was shocked when two preteen girls repeatedly stabbed a classmate to impress/assuage the fictional entity known as Slenderman. Slenderman was what's called a creepypasta character that were invented on the internet. They used to do what's called creepypasta stories. They were like urban legends that were just made up, they weren't real. But a lot of people say that the Slender Man was actually really created. He was summoned or evoked or invoked, brought forth by all these stories. Anyway, locals felt the film was potentially exploitative and dangerous. For those who find the idea silly that people could be inspired to commit violence because of a movie, remember Slenderman was just a story until two kids found in it inspiration to murder. Yeah, did the murderer or did the? I'm going to say they didn't. I think she survived, didn't she, the classmate? But they tried to kill her, but they didn't kill her. She did. I think she did survive. But it's still very sad. It's sad how some people are mentally. What's the word? They do have mental illnesses, don't they? And a lot of times they see films and it inspires them to do terrible things. But can you blame all films? Can you blame a film just because somebody watched it and it affected them in a certain way? Like one out of how many millions of people have seen that film? It's a bit silly, isn't it, really? Going, that route. Anyway, Saw 3D 2010, banned in several countries, including Malaysia. Malaysia's banned movie list is interesting, along with Saw 3D. I can't remember which one that is. I've seen all the Saw films, because I really like the Saw saga, Jigsaw and all that. The latest one, Spiral, wasn't that good. But I do like the story, the story arc of it, how it's like a cult surrounding the Jigsaw character. Because I think he died in the third one, didn't he? Spoilers. Anyway, along with Saw 3D, you'll find the movie Babe and its follow-up Babe Pig in the City. Britain even removed a television ad promoting the film after a 10-year-old voiced complaints that the content was distressing. Well, that sounds about right, doesn't it? Right, this is the last one, number 15, a Serbian film. I've not seen this one. I don't want to see it. I've just heard descriptions about it, and to be honest, I don't want to watch it. Name a country, and this film's probably been banned there. I have heard it's not as bad as it's made out to be, and it kind of revels in its notoriety, but it's not. I've heard it's not as bad as you think, but I've not seen it, and I don't want to. Right. The revulsion caused by the movie's depiction of child rape and murder cannot be overstated. A prosecutor in Spain became so incensed he threatened to file child pornography charges against the director. We'd advise against looking up many of the movies on this list. For many of them, we'll have to pass on a viewing. After all, some really are banned for good reason. I think most of them, weren't banned for good reasons, because they're not as bad as they make out. But some of them, you've got to take each film as it comes along, and you've got to say to the filmmakers, trim this scene, cut that bit out. We think it could affect some people, and if they refuse to do that, say, well, it's going to get a higher certificate, or it might get a more limited release, only in certain cinemas that only allow over 18s, strictly, and stuff like that. Or it should have a major warning at the beginning of the film that it's going to contain disturbing images. You've got to think about these things, haven't you? But a lot of the films are not as bad as they're made out to be. But I don't know about a Serbian film. I've not seen it. I don't want to see it. I've just heard about it, and it's the sort of thing I don't think I really want to watch. But I've heard it's about somebody falling in to somebody who's quite a decent person at the beginning or something, and falls into a bad situation. I think he's wanting money or something like that, and it just escalates and gets worse and worse, the things he has to do. That's what I've heard. I don't know, but I've not seen it. Anyway, so there you go. Happy Halloween. 15 horror films that were banned in various places, some deservedly so and some not. And you could find other lists of other films, as I've said, Cannibal Holocaust. I think the Child's Play films were banned in the UK for a while. I'm not sure how long the British, Video Nasties Act, it wasn't called that. I don't know how long that was enforced for. I think it was at least a decade, maybe longer. Because I think The Exorcist might have fallen into that category as well. But I think that was taken off the list in the 90s, I think, sometime. Anyway, so we'll leave it there. I just thought to do that, a quick 20 minutes. Anyway, so wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. Don't have nightmares. Have a happy Halloween. Give the trick-or-treaters lots of nice candy. Don't be horrible to them. Because if you've seen the film Trick or Treat, if you're not nice to these trick-or-treaters, that little creature will come and get you with this sack head. It's got a name, but I forgot it. Anyway, until next time, I'll say the